It's half time.
Welcome to Halftime Oranges, the Rugby League footy podcast. How are you, Clayton?
I've never been better.
How's your week been?
Mate, I had a super week this week. Last weekend was a massive weekend for me.
Massive?
And you, probably.
You
went to
the horse races.
Went to the races on Saturday, the Ladies' Day, and at Rosehill had an absolute fantastic day.
Yes.
Out there with some good friends of ours. They took us along and we partied out there with Paulini and so forth on the stage.
That would have been thrilling, Paulini.
No, she was very good. She was very entertaining and had a good day there, fashions in the field. And then we went out to another passion of ours, the opening of Eastern Creek Speedway, where we had
Saturday night, yes.
We had 3 cars out there. Interesting 3 cars racing the other night, which was good. Young Bailey Goodwin got a second, and Michael Saller
got up to 6
got us up to 6 before he got in a little bit of trouble with the DNF, and then Robbie Farr got a trophy with 3rd place. But it was good. Good to see the opening of Speedway back after two years of absence, and yeah, it was good to be back out there smelling the methanol.
Excellent.
And the other highlight. Round 1 of the footy.
Round 1 of the footy, that was tremendous. We caught up on all the games, which we will review this week. So for those that don't know, we're 2 dribblers who are tragic Dragons fans. Both should have been Immortals, but we're not too sure what for. What's our podcast about? We review, preview, give our tips. We got our Herbie tips, our music section. You can also follow us on...
Good song this week too.
Good song?
Yeah, and I'll tell you the story behind it shortly.
That's a good forward sell there. You should be
good
radio.
Upsell. Good upsell.
Radio. You can follow us on Facebook and also catch our melons on YouTube each week. And it's not too late to join our Halftime Oranges tipping competition for 2022.
You're only a week behind because everyone sort of went like a busted last week on the tips.
Well, not everyone. We did use our jokers, which I don't know how we fucked that up. So we're leading. We're on 6 or
not
or
the
8
ideal
or something
week.
Like that.
Not the ideal week to be paying your joker.
But I'll just give you a tip. The kid that's running 4th behind, he hasn't used his joker yet. He's Nate Blackman, who is my son.
6-year-old.
He's only 6. And he only turned 6.
How's he going to go get the $100 at Dan Murphy's?
I'll have to buy him $100 of Coca-Cola or something like that. He'll be on a sugar buzz.
Take him down the milk bar.
Yeah, but so he tipped 6 or something, 5 or something like that out of 8.
He's plucking them out of the air now.
And just quietly, I talked him out of tipping the Broncos. He said he wanted to tip the Broncos, and I said, "Really?" And he said, "Okay, I'll go the Rabbitohs." So
you're to blame.
It's the last time I do that for him, so I might get him in a room and follow his tips.
Yeah, that might be the key now.
So yes,
mate. Today, what am I sporting? What are you wearing? For those that are not watching us on YouTube, what are you wearing today? Something different? I'm
wearing the English Rugby League jumper from the World Cup.
England Rugby League
in 1995.
95.
Yeah.
Wow.
John Smith's
across the front. Yeah.
Puma pants across here. So yes, mate, that's the English Rugby
World
League.
Cup 95. Is it 95? No,
95.
95 it is too.
Yeah, Rugby League Centennial World Cup. What about yourself?
Mate, I'm dobbed the red V again.
With the autographs?
With the same autographs because we're undefeated.
Undefeated, 1 from 1.
I know the ladies got beaten last week. But I've put the red V on again because it's been a good luck charm.
So
speaking of the red V, for those who want to see us, we'll be at Cogra Jubilee Oval.
Yes.
At 6 o'clock game on Friday night to watch the mighty Red V take on the Penrith Panthers.
The champs take on the champs. We're on about the 20-metre line on the northern end of the field on the
northern end
side.
On the grandstand sides for those who want to come down and shake hands. Photo. Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Yeah. Kiss hands, shake babies. I think the same.
We're right on the fence.
Yeah, come down and say g'day if you're a listener.
Yep.
So
all the best.
The NRL news this week. We've got a couple of things now that the footy's back, but the NRLW the NRL have announced that the NRLW will go from 6 to 8 teams in 2023 and 10 teams in 2024 with an increase of salary cap, which will see some of the ladies or the average cost go up to 28% in their wages, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
and more players, which will get more eyes on the telly and that type of thing. And I heard somewhere too that they can sign 2 marquee players which are full time with the club. So, which is good. My only concern is there going to be enough talent to go around?
Yeah, well, I was listening to one of our rival podcasts this morning coming to work, and that was the great Gus Gould's concern too. I've got to take my hat off to whether it's PVL or Andrew Abdo or whoever, because obviously they've seen the ratings and the growth and what's happening and the standard of footy, and obviously the NRL men's competition. Okay, we've got a new club coming in next year with the Dolphins, but it's maxed. It's maxed out. You're not going to get any more juniors.
Talent-wise, yeah.
There's obviously this is an untapped market with this women's rugby league, and it's the biggest growing, obviously part of rugby league in the world. So I take my hat off to them. Yeah, going from 6 to 8 teams, I think it's fantastic. The 10 teams, I'm a little bit doubtful. I'd like to see. I love that, so that they've got an increase in wages. But the other thing is, okay, they're going to go to 10 teams. So are they going to play each other once? So that'd be 9 games, right? I just did some calculations the other day. They've got an increase of 28%, which is the salary cap's 350 grand. So when you do 350 grand, I think there's a squad of 24 players. Each player's getting 14 grand, right? Now, they're going to do a pre-season training, and they're going to play for 9 rounds.
Plus finals.
Plus the playoffs, right? So there's probably, I don't know, what will they take? The top 4, I suppose? They'll take a top 4. So there might be a maximum of 3 weeks.
Yep.
3 weeks in the playoffs. So at maximum, you're going to play 12 games.
Plus the pre-season.
Plus the pre-season. And you're going to get, like if you divide it up, 14 grand. Like I know, and some of them are going to get less than that, mate, because obviously if there's 2 marquee signings...
Well, they're going to get more.
They're going to get more cash because they're going to be doing things behind the scenes. So I'm not sure whether their club stuff gets paid under that salary cap or what, but it's still not a lot of money, you know what I mean? They're doing... They're going to get less than $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
When you look at the sums, and it's nice, we've increased it 350,000. It's fuck all.
Yeah. The other concerning is, and I heard, so round 1, and I know there was no football NRL men's game, but round 1 of the women's, they played all 3 games up
One
at...
stadium? Seabus?
No, up at Newcastle, McDonald's.
Yeah, that's right.
So the NRL, it cost the NRL $100,000
to put it on,
to hire the joint out, all that type of thing, and they only sold about 10,000 tickets.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're paying $100 a ticket to cover the cost there.
No. But I can see what's going to happen here. This is going to be on before the main games.
Which I don't mind that idea. Again, it's going to get the families in to be able to. And it's like the old days, and you and I have spoken about it.
Mum, dad, son, and daughter are going to watch.
You used to go and watch President's Cup, and you used to go
third
and watch
grade, reserve grade,
first, and it might have cost you $30 a ticket. But hey, I'm there for 6 or 7 hours.
Well, I know from when I was playing St George Matthews Cup and so forth. We played Charity Shield. We played the Charity Shield game. Our Matthews Cup game was on at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and it went through.
And they played they made the Matthews Cup, the SG Ball, the Jersey Flag.
Third
grade, first grade was playing at like 6 o'clock that night. So there was all six grades games played.
But even now too, I like that idea because, as you said, mum and dad are going to go, and the son and the daughter, and even on the weekend, before the NRL kicked off, Billy Slater was at the game and he's walking around and he asked the crowd, and he asked this young girl,
"Yes,
who's your favourite player?" She said, "Maddie Studden."
Yeah,
like the game had just finished.
Yeah,
but that's the attraction that they want to try and get. That
yeah,
okay, the girls want to follow the girls, and it takes it away. And I'm not being sexist, but the girls used to go and watch the cheerleaders.
Yeah,
I want to be a cheerleader. I want to be a cheerleader. Well, yeah, hey, I want to be a player.
That's right.
So it takes it away from.
No, I think, mate. I think the expansion is well and truly there for it. I'm just concerned about the depth and whether the players are going to be up to the level.
Well, even you look at a couple of years ago in that grade below, I think it's the Tarsha Gale Cup.
Yeah, under 18s, under 19s.
Some of the scores they were 80-4 and 60-4 and things like that, which were blowouts because the talent wasn't there. So they want to make sure the talent's there to keep the games close.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want blowouts of 80-4, but also I want to make sure the talent's there and the girls' bodies are ready to be able. Because mate, some of that football,
it's tremendous.
Fuck me, they get into they rip into each other. It's really, really good.
Another bit of news: Tariq Sims reportedly signed with Melbourne. He won't go this year because of salary cap restraints in Melbourne, but he's looking at going down there next year.
Yeah, well, good luck to him, mate. He's on the tail end of his career. Craig Bellamy's obviously aware that he's going to lose Kafusi and the Bromwich brothers, so they're looking for some starch. Mate, he'll be good for Craig. He'll be good for Craig Bellamy, and Craig Bellamy will be good for Tariq Sims. But yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah,
hope it goes well.
Well, I think he was probably behind Teddy and Latrell in the State of Origin. He was probably New South Wales' best player last year.
Yeah, Turbo was pretty good last year too.
Yeah, but Turbo. That's who I meant. Turbo and Latrell. I thought he was the third, number 3.
Yeah. I would have thought. I thought Tariq was one of our best forwards last year in the Blues jersey.
Yeah.
Even in the Red V, he was good.
Yeah. So we'll probably touch on a couple of these when we review the game, review and preview the games. But Latrell is back this week for the Rabbitohs.
Yeah, they'll need Latrell and more the poor old Rabbits from last week, I should say. But we'll see how he goes. He hasn't had any trial games.
No.
So I'm tipping he's going to be blowing.
So it'll be interesting to see how they fit in there as well with that type of scenario.
Yeah.
A couple of injuries from the weekend. Moses Leota from the Panthers ruled out for 8 to 10 weeks with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, this will test their depth at the Panthers already. I see Spencer Lenu's come into the side there, which I rate him highly. I think he's a really good player. He's normally been a bench player, making an impact off the bench. So he gets a start, and Tommy Eisenhoof comes onto the bench there for Penrith in the 7th.
And he won't let you down either.
He won't let you down. But yeah, they're not. It's already testing Penrith's depth there, but he'll be a big loss because he's got a big motor too in Moses Leota.
Yeah. Warriors trio: Sean Johnson, Dallin Watesney-Lesniak, and Viliami Valei are facing stints on the sideline after picking up injuries in their sides lost to the Dragons.
Yeah.
Again, this will test their depth.
This will test their depth. Sean Johnson's a big loss for him.
Yeah.
I see that, we'll talk about it later, that Ash Taylor comes into the team to make his debut for the Warriors. But he's not, I don't think he can control the game like Sean Johnson.
Yes.
So let's see how they go, unfortunately.
And for Melbourne, Christian Welch, he's out for the season with an Achilles injury, and George Jennings also with an ACL, and then Brandon Smith will miss 5 weeks with a broken hand.
Yeah, so the Cheese is out obviously for 5 weeks with a hand. He's got a good replacement there, Harry Grant. So Harry's back this week playing hooker. Christian Welch, who's obviously their co-captain, he'll be a big loss for him. I see Big Nelson comes into the starting side now. Yep. So this will test Melbourne's depth as well, particularly off the bench now. They've probably got a good 1 to 13, but now they're starting to stretch.
Well, they got Wishart coming in as that second hooker.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's no Smith or Grant yet, all respect. No. But, it's going to be interesting seeing, too, where going forward, where the Cheese fits in. Is he going to have to play that lock role with Nelson moving up front?
Yeah, probably.
I know they've got that Josh King, who Bellamy rates highly.
Yeah.
He mentioned the other night on a TV show that after the Army camp, they were impressed with Josh King. So does he play more of a prop role and that rotation, and Cheese plays the lock?
Gives one of the middle forwards a rest.
Yes. Canberra, without Josh Hodgson and the little new halfback, Brad Schneider, in round 2. Hodgson will miss a fortnight with a knee injury, and the halfback, Brad Schneider, will miss a week after returning.
So Hodgson's only out for 2 weeks, is he? That's good news for them, because they got a good replacement there. I like the hooker they got, their replacement, Tommy Starling. I think he's an absolute star.
And we'll mention that they've got another kid that's come onto the bench as well, which I've highlighted when we do the preview.
Geez, you wouldn't want to wear the 7 down there at Canberra at the moment, would you? Fuck, every time Snyder's now in, like, what's his name?
Fogarty.
Fogarty's got injured now. Snyder's got injured, so Matt Frawley's the backup 7 this week, which he goes well's got a good kicking game.
Because they got Sam Williams there as well.
Yeah.
So
Frawley's probably a little bit bigger body.
Yeah. So,
but it's going to be test them out this week anyway.
Just on some other news, and it's not NRL, but we are a sports footy show. Tom Brady back is the John Farnham of the NFL. 2 months back from retirement. I want to mention 2 things on this. What about the poor sucker that just paid $502,000 for his last
American
touchdown ball? Only about a week or so ago, and
I read that.
Brady comes out and announces that
I'm
he's
back.
back. So
hasn't that lost value?
I hope the ink hasn't dried, or there's a cooling off period or something like that when you buy a house.
Yeah.
That's worth about $3.50 now.
Yeah, because it's not the last touchdown pass.
That's right. But Tom Brady, he's just like you and me, right?
Yeah, how?
So he's retired.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's got 7 rings. He's got a mansion. He's got a supermodel wife.
Yeah.
But after 2 months, he couldn't put up with her shit anymore, and he said, "Fuck this! I'm going back on the road."
I'm back.
2 months. That's all it's took. So no matter how good looking you are,
she must be a punish.
she still can't. You can't still put up with her shit.
But my first thoughts when I heard this was, what about? There was 2 things I thought of actually. What about the poor bloke in reserve grade, this quarterback for reserve grade of the Buccaneers?
Yes.
He's thinking, shit, here's my time now. My
Finally.
time to shine. I've been under the shadow of Tom Brady for the last couple of years. He's now retired. I'm now going to step up to the plate, play first grade. 8 weeks later, Tom's back, and this poor bugger's playing Wentworthville Magpies next week.
Yes.
Yeah, in the reserve grade.
In front of 20 people.
That's right, in front of down at Urco Oval.
Yeah.
The poor bugger. So that was the first. But then I also thought, how the fuck do they fit him under the salary cap? Like 8 weeks ago, when they finished, they must say, okay, well, Tom Brady's left. We've now got his money to spend. Who are we going to buy up? Because the draft hasn't been on yet, has it?
No.
No.
I don't believe so.
So I'm not sure how that works now, because now all of a sudden they've got to find. Is there a salary cap in the NFL? Well, I don't know.
I'm not too sure. Maybe if there is, John Rebo might be doing their books or something like that.
Fuck, mate, I don't know. But how do you then try and fit the greatest of all time back in under your cap?
Yeah. But no, I just want to mention that. So the review of last.
I don't
week,
think he's like you and me. I think he's going a little bit better.
But he still can't put up with his Mr.
Yeah,
Shit.
I suppose so.
So the only thing is he's got 7 rings and a big mansion.
Good luck to him, Tom.
And probably $100 billion in the bank.
Give us a yell, mate, on the Facebook
I know he's an
page.
avid listener too.
Give us a yell out on the
Yeah.
on the Facebook page, mate, if you're listening. So
Wonder if he wants to join the tipping comp and win the $100 Dan Murphy.
yeah, well, it's an enticement, isn't it?
That's right. Did you hear about the Dan Murphys got robbed the other day?
No.
These 2 robbers broke into Dan Murphy's,
Yeah.
and one of them holds up a bottle and says to the other one, "Is this whiskey?"
Right.
And the other one says, "Not as whiskey as robbing a bank."
I'll tell you a funny story. I heard, you might have heard this one. I was listening to Mick Malloy.
Yes.
You know Mickey Malloy? And he was talking about, Mick Malloy, for those people that don't know, is a massive Richmond Tigers fan.
Yes.
In 2017, the Richmond Tigers won the flag in the AFL for a long, long time.
Yes.
I'm not. I think it was back in the 50s or something. Since they won it. Anyway, they said in 2017 grand final night, what was the funniest thing that you've seen? And he said the one thing that stood out for me. So, whatever the main drag is through Richmond, whatever the name of the street is, he named it, right? And he says all the pubs were packed. Like, you just couldn't get into the pub.
If you got stabbed, you couldn't have fallen over.
Exactly right. They were that packed. Like, they were that jam-packed. People were spilling out onto the street from all the pubs where people were trying to get into the drink because they were so happy about winning the flag. So, what the funniest thing that Mick Malloy's seen was people went into Liquorland. And you know that the song for the Richmond Tigers that they sing when they win.
From Tiger.
We go from Tiger Town. Anyway, so that was on repeat throughout the main street all the way down. And in all the different pubs, you could hear it being chanted and so forth. Anyway, the funniest thing he said, people that couldn't get into the pubs went into Liquorland and they started treating it like a pub.
Just
like
open up
it was just like a venue. It was just all of a sudden this pop-up pub. So people are going to the fridges and just opening up beers and just starting to
drink like a pub.
just like a pub in Liquorland in the Mains Drag, right? So the staff obviously got the shits for this because it wasn't a venue for drinking. So they called the cops. So all these people are inside Liquorland and they called the cops, and then the people in the Liquorland started calling, "We're from Liquorland."
How good.
Oh, I thought that was a good one.
That's very good. The results from last week. So the Panthers against the Sea Eagles. Panthers 28, Sea Eagles 6. This was Panthers just left off where they started where they left off last year.
Mate, they were in the groove, weren't they? I think a lot of people thought their trial form and obviously their number one man, Nathan Cleary, not being there, they weren't going to be able to compete against the Eagles. And I think a lot of people tipped the Eagles. Well, I know you and I tipped the Eagles. I know it was at Panthers Stadium for the first time since they won the comp, but mate, they were clinical.
Yeah.
They were so clinical. The little halfback, Sean O'Sullivan, it was a Nathan Cleary clone. Mate, they went really well, mate, yeah.
I think the Panthers they stopped the go forward, which stopped Tommy.
Yeah.
And what about their line speed, getting up, out to make the tackle? And if you had to pick an Australian side today, would Isaiah Yeo be the lock?
Mate, he'd well and truly, he'd be one of the first blokes picked, because if he's not the best forward
in the game
at the moment, he's outstanding. He's just got that middle forward. He's got a massive motor. He hits the ball up. He tackles his arse off, and he's just that link between the left and right teams for Penrith. Mate, he was. I loved the Penrith game plan. It was like put it high to Jason Saab and smash him, and drive him back, and then Tommy's going to hit the first one up off the ruck. And Penrith were they had him in a corner, and Penrith were just flying out of the line to clean him up. So poor old Tom had no answer. And look at the try. Manly only scored 6 points, and the try they scored, they actually ran the ball on the last tackle.
Yeah.
And Penrith were all out of shape. Penrith's defence.
Play the ball.
Well, Penrith's defence were all high and low, so there was one up, one back. They were all high and low, so there was no actual shape about them. And it was last tackle. Last tackle was late in the first half.
It was right before half time.
So Penrith were probably a little bit out of gas, and also they were probably expecting the kick. But mate, Penrith, yeah, take my hat off to them. They were good.
And now, you have a look how blessed we are with lock forwards at the game at the moment. So you got Yeo, Jakey Travojevic, Victor Radley, Cam Murray,
Dale Finucane.
You'd want them in your team every day of the week, but
Jack DeBellin.
Yeo is just...
Mate,
even Toby Rudolph, blokes like that, Yeo's just up there, head and shoulders above them all.
Yeah, big Tino at the Titans, you know what I mean?
Right, Tamalomo, those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yeo's just head and shoulders above.
Yeah, he's going good, mate. He's probably he's the best forward in the game, I reckon.
Yeah. And Raiders, the Sharks. Raiders 24, Sharks 19. For me, this was the game of the round.
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of this game. Obviously, the Raiders went out and led 18-0 or 18-6 early, and then the Sharks pegged them back. And Sharks got their nose in front, and then Canberra scored. But defensively, I don't know if you got to see right at the end there, Matic Avalu for the Sharks, like trying to score in the corner there, and Canberra's scramble defence just held him out. It was really, really... they were desperate, and Jack Whiten's 200th game. They were desperate. And I was really happy for Ricky Stewart because he copped it in the media during the week. So he was... you could see he was quite relieved on the sideline.
How good's Ricky on the sideline?
Oh, I love him, mate. He's so passionate.
How good. But how is good to have the coach on the sideline, like the others sit up in the box. But
yeah,
imagine Craig Bellamy on the sideline.
Oh,
like the kids would learn a new word every week.
He's Ricky's good on the sideline. So yeah, good luck to the Raiders down there. That was good win.
One thing with the Sharks, they look fit. Like, I know that's Fitzy.
Yeah.
But geez, they look fit.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're going to get back to the Sharks of old, that grind. If you score 2, we'll score 3, that type of thing.
Yeah, they'll try and drag you in.
Broncos Rabbits. Broncos 11, Rabbitohs 4.
Mate, obviously the Broncos didn't have their key signing, Adam Reynolds, but I guess the biggest talking point was South City, mate. They had zero. They had absolutely nothing. I know Blake Taft didn't play the fullback. They had a quick reshuffle, so Alex Johnson was the fullback. But, mate, yeah, they, from a grand finalist last year, I know they're missing Latrell, but, mate, to only score 4 points against the Broncos, who had the worst defensive record last year, I think they were there them in Canterbury. Mate, it's warning bells haven't gone off yet, but geez, they're getting ready to fire.
Even with, it's going to help Alex Johnson going back to the wing because he's a try scorer and that type of thing. But
Finisher.
I think they're going to need some more help. I'll tell you one thing with the Broncos, they looked enthusiastic.
Mate, Billy Walters I thought was outstanding.
Yeah. Well, he's
and the poor bugger's not named in the starting side this week with Reynolds coming. But mate, Billy Walters, the six, controlled the game like he'd been playing in that six jersey for the last 5 years for the Broncos. He was really, really good.
Probably the pleasing sign for South is they're only 2 points out of the 8.
What about Cody Walker throwing intercept in the last 2 games to lead to tries and probably lose the game on both occasions? Yeah. You know what I mean? One was a grand final, one was round 1, but yeah, the pass hit them both on the chest anyway.
Yeah. Roosters and the Knights. Roosters 6, Knights 20.
Yeah, well, wasn't this a turn up? I didn't expect to see this one. I've seen a stat during the week with the Roosters. There was 8 players, like combination, had been out for a while, so they look really clunky, the Roosters in attack. Like they had Keary coming back, Radley coming back. They had a lot of injuries late last year, so there's a lot of new guys coming back, and they did look
clunky
in that. They weren't attacked, but mate, defensively for the Knights, wow, they were hungry.
They looked into it. What about that hit Kurt Mann on Jared Hargraves? Like that doesn't happen to Jared too often.
No,
and it led to points after that. I felt the Roosters looked tired.
Yeah, mate, they didn't have much there, did they?
And I don't know whether Robbo's going to be flogging them this week again, so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from that type of thing.
Well, the interesting thing, and we'll obviously go through the draw for the round 2, Roosters play Manly, and both teams come off a loss. So whoever loses,
0-2.
Yeah, after 2 weeks they haven't won a game, and you wouldn't think after 2 weeks you were going to say Roosters or Manly were going to be behind.
Yeah. Warriors and the Dragons. Warriors 16, Dragons 28.
Yeah, Dragons went well, mate. I was very happy with the way the Saints played. Hung in there. Scored some nice tries. Let a soft one in for the Warriors in the corner there with a bit of lack of communication between Ben Hunt and Terrell Sloan. But mate, they did. Yeah, there's some improvement there. Woodsy's obviously out this week. He's done a hamstring. I don't know how. He must have slipped in Nebraska or something. And Frankie Molo gets his start, and big Georgie Burgess is into the 17.
Rava got a hat trick too.
Big Rava got a hat trick. Yeah, Big Rava got a hat trick. So yeah, good to see. He's knocked him over like 10 pins.
Yeah, he is the ultimate rocks or diamonds player.
Hands of stone.
Yeah. So Tigers and the Storm. Tigers 16, Storm 26.
Storm did well to hang on to this game. They won by 10, but they obviously lost, tested their depth on the day because they lost Welshie in the first half. They lost George Jennings out wide. Cheese obviously went off with that hand injury that we spoke about, so they ended up with only 14 players. But still come away to get the 2 points.
Tigers pushed them all the way.
Oh, Tigers pushed them, and we knew they would. But for the Storm to come away and still win the 2 points with only 14 players, it was a tremendous effort.
That's I heard, we were talking last week, we said it's either 10 or 12 round ones. It's actually 20.
Is it really?
Round 1 wins
in a row
for Craig Bellamy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
it's good effort.
Eels and the Titans. Eels 32, Titans 28.
Yeah, well, what a game this was. At half time it was 30-22.
Yes.
I couldn't believe. I thought, shit, this could end up 60-64 or something like that. This could have gone on and been a massive score. But obviously, attack was the 32-28. Obviously, attack was the winner in the first half, and then defence was the winner in the second half. With Parramatta only kicking a penalty goal in the second half, and Titans only scoring one more try. But the Titans will test a few teams this year. I think they'll be a bit of a surprise pack. I know they made the playoffs last year.
I know the score was 32 points, but in that second half, the Titans' defence, they probably had 6 or 7 sets in a row on their line and held Parramatta out. And they were scrambling, they were working for each other. They were really impressive in defence in that section.
Yeah, and Para's attack's been on song in the trial games and so forth. So yeah, the Titans did really well there. But they were unlucky.
Did you see that kick from Moses?
Yeah, how good was that?
So it's hit the post.
You couldn't do that if you tried, could you?
And those pads would be like a ball hitting my guts, like soft as butter, as soft as a pensioner's turd, and it could have gone anywhere, but it bounces back about 15 metres. Dylan Brown shoots through, picks up,
hits the winger. Yeah, so. Yeah, it was arsey try.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it if you tried, I don't think.
And the Cowboys Bulldogs, Cowboys 4, Bulldogs 6. What a different scoreline from the game before.
Yeah, this takes us back to the 80s, mate. The old Dogs of War with the old 6-4 scoreline. Mate, the Cowboys, Jesus Christ, they're in all sorts. They've got Chad Townsend up there at $800,000 or more, and to come away against the Dogs from last year. I know the Dogs have had a change of staff in there. They've got 7 new bods and so forth, or 8 new bods. But, mate, for the Cowboys to only put on 1 try.
I know we mentioned Josh Drinkwater last week, that it was a surprise omission from the squad. And it could have been due to his defence that he missed the most tackles last year and things like that. But he's an out-and-out attacker.
Yeah.
If you want to score points, even put him on the bench.
Well, he got 20 try assists last year.
Yeah, even put him on the bench to score some points.
And the Cowboys can't score fucking tries.
Yeah. So, yes.
Get him in there somewhere. Just get him a start somewhere. Because I see Chad Townsend and Tommy Dearden, they're very, very similar players.
Yes.
So no one's actually going to set the play up, you know what I mean? But, they're chasing points.
Who was your most impressive out of round 1?
Mate, I've probably got to say it's a bit of a dead heat between the Panthers and probably the Knights.
Yes.
They were probably the 2 surprise packets. I tipped against both of them. I only got 3 out of 8 if you have a look at the tipping sheet. But they're probably the 2 surprise packets, mate, which I didn't expect to get the points.
And who got the Drew Blackman Sex Award for most disappointing?
Most disappointing. Oh, mate, there's a bit of a toss-up here. Probably the Rabbits get it this week.
Yeah, Rabbits or the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say the Cowboys because we probably expect looking at their lineup and so forth.
Against the Dogs, though, like everyone's tipped the Dogs possibly to be bottom 4.
But you could have put as much money on the Rabbits as you liked against the Broncos, and you would have thought, particularly with Adam Reynolds not being there.
Yeah.
When you look at the lineup, like the Cowboys, who they had missing, you know what I mean, they were probably nearly at full strength.
Yeah.
But when they took Adam Reynolds out of the Broncos and then South still couldn't beat them, it's a worry.
Round 3 of the WNRL, the Roosters and the Knights. Roosters 28, Knights 12. So Roosters finally got a win.
Yeah, good to see. They played some good footy.
And the Dragons and the Broncos. Dragons 18, Broncos 22. This was a great game.
This was a fantastic game, the Dragons and the Broncos. 2 undefeated teams up until last weekend. And both sets of forwards, they took it to each other. They really bashed each other. And it was a nice close game, 18-22. Yeah, mate, that was...
Did you see... there's 2 parts of this. Did you see the ball from Paige McGregor to Shaylee Bent, who then ran 70 metres, stood the fullback up for a back rower?
One of my favourites, Paige McGregor. It's just, mate, that kid's a genius. He has got plenty of talent and just the vision to be able to see that, go to the line. She got smashed after she passed the ball and put Shaylee Bent in and went the length of the field. But, yeah, I take my hat off to Paige there, just a bit of vision.
Yeah, and then the Eels and the Titans. Eels 24, Titans 14.
Yeah, there was some good footy, some good points here by the Parramatta Eels. They scored some good tries, but there's a bit of a pattern forming here. Obviously, the teams that have been in before, which was Roosters, Dragons, Broncos, to me they're probably the creamers rising to the top. You know what I mean? Parramatta, Titans, and Knights have all had increases in new players. But yeah, if you want me to take a top four, my top four now would be Broncos, Dragons, Roosters, Para. That's probably going to be the top four, and I think it'll be a Broncos Dragons grand final.
I'll tell you though, just on that, the Knights. I don't think they've won too many, but the Knights have been super impressive for a first-year team coming together. You can see
and never throw the towel in,
there.
mate.
The foundations are there. Yep. Next year or the year after, they will be a good force. So.
Yeah, they never throw the towel in. It's good to see.
Our previews of round 2 in the NRL. Thursday, 8:05 at Amy Park. Tonight's
game.
Melbourne Storm v South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Well, the two ones I've highlighted here, Cam Munster's back for the Melbourne Storm.
Yes.
They reckon he's absolutely training the house down. He's lost a bit of weight. And the big in for the Rabbitohs is Latrell Mitchell's back at fullback. I'm going to tip Melbourne Storm here. I've taken them by 10.
Yes.
I just think, obviously, there's a few newbies on the bench here that we spoke about for Melbourne Storm. They got Tyron Wishart, Alec McDonald, I don't know. Trent Liolro, is it?
Yes.
And Tapai Maroa, which a former Parramatta Eel.
He's a good player.
He's a gun. Whether that stays the same or not, I don't know. But I'm still going to take Melbourne at Amy Park down in Melbourne. Look for Jerome Hughes and Cam Munster to have big games.
And it's going to be a good matchup with Latrell back against Pappenhausen as well. Jesse Bromwich is also back this week and then pushes Nelson up into the front row, as we mentioned, with a couple of injuries there. And George Jennings replaced by Dini Ramiro, who's a 20-year-old Samoan. He come through the Victoria Thunderbolt system. So
he has played first grade before too.
So it's be interesting to see. But yeah, I've got Melbourne 1-12 as well.
Yep.
Friday, 6 o'clock, the game that we will be at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium, St George Illawarra Dragons up against the champs Penrith Panthers.
My heart says Saints here, my head says Penrith. We spoke earlier, Big Aaron Woods is out, Frankie Molo gets a start in the starting side, Big Georgie Burgess comes onto the bench. We spoke about Penrith losing Moses Leota. Spencer Leniu comes onto the bench, comes onto the starting side. Matty Eisenhuth is on the bench. This will be a good game. I think this will be a really good test. Let's see what Sean O'Sullivan, the halfback for Penrith last week, was outstanding. He really steered the ship around, took a lot of pressure off Jerome Luai. So let's see how much pressure Saints put on him this week. At Cogra this weekend, there's a big tribute to one of the greatest Dragons of all time, Norm Provan. 10 grand finals, 10 premierships.
We've got a footy there signed
by Norm.
Arthur.
By Norm from the 63 grand final sitting here with us. But so the number 9 jersey that Norm wore proudly at the with the Red V's not being worn this weekend in tribute.
It's been retired.
It's been retired for this game. So Andrew McCulloch, the hooker, is going to get around in number 19. So yeah, it's good. Good luck, Tom.
We mentioned Georgie Burgess makes his debut there for the Dragons. It'll be a good matchup between the lock forwards here with Yo, who we had a big raps on, and Jack DeBellin playing for Saints. But also to Stephen Crichton, his best position is in the centres.
Yeah, for sure, mate. He's really good. Brian Toto last week, Manly did a number on him. He didn't get as many metres last week, so I'll be interested to see. So Rava's marking Brian Toto this week, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, Toto comes in field to take those early hit-ups after a kick, so let's see how many metres he makes there.
I think the thing there to beat Penrith is you either kick it to him and let him bring the first hit up back, or you get your line set and then your line speed of the McCullochs and the DeBellins get up quick and then try and take his time out when he's having that second or third hit up.
Yeah, when you look at the back three there, you'd obviously be wanting to kick. I reckon that the plan is to kick to Charlie Staines there. Keep kicking him to his corner. And then read what Manly did last week. Totto's going to have the first hit up off the ruck. And you got your line sort of half set.
Yeah.
So you're just flying out of the line to give it to Toto.
You got to make sure you make that tackle. So,
yeah.
The second game...
I have tipped Penrith.
I've tipped Penrith as well, 1-12 though. So I'm happy to be proven wrong.
I hope that if I tip against Saints and they win, I'm happy.
The second game Friday night is at the SCG, 8:05. The Sydney Roosters, Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. We sort of had a quick touch on this before, that one of these teams could be or will be 0-2 unless there's a draw.
Yeah, no change-ups. Pretty much both teams same side as last week's games. There hasn't been any changes due to injuries or anything like that. I've taken the Roosters mainly because you never see a Roosters side get beaten 2 weeks in a row.
One thing was interesting last week with the Roosters was a couple of times there, Joey Manu and Momorowski swap. So
yeah.
Manu was out on the wing, which I don't know whether it's a defence thing or what the scenario there is, but Joey Manu's got to get the ball in his hands. There was talk there of even him playing 6, which could be something they look at if Sam Walker doesn't go ahead there. Yeah,
well, I would have thought Momorowski was a better centre than a winger. I'm not sure. Maybe Billy Smith might be the player that's going to be under pressure there to hold his centre position. The centres might run with Manu and Momorowski, and then that brings Kevin Aguama onto the wing or something like that. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Let's keep an eye on that. But I've taken the Roosters only because they won't lose 2 in a row.
Even Adam Kerrigan, who played in the centre last year, who's a good player. I'm on the Roosters 1-12.
Yeah.
Saturday, the 3 o'clock game, Seabus Super Stadium at Gold Coast, Titans v New Zealand Warriors.
So the Warriors bring back Reece Walsh after a week off, back at fullback, and Ash Taylor makes his debut for the Warriors. Big loss here, which we spoke about earlier, is Sean Johnson for the Warriors team. I'm going to tip the Titans at home, mainly because it's at home, and I think they're on the improve.
AJ Brimson's back too for the Titans. He didn't play last week. He got ruled out in the warm-up.
Who played 6 last week?
Will Smith.
Yeah.
Who was quite impressive.
He did good on Supercoach, I noticed. He got good points on Supercoach.
He's impressive. I like Will Smith.
He's not big money either.
He was a little bit chirpy too, coming up against his previous club.
Yeah. Which
I don't mind. As you know, I do love a chat. But Titans were, as I said, were really good in defence. It's interesting to see Kevin Proctor there, still in the number 17 jersey. We mentioned that last week. He can't crack the starting lineup. But yeah, Titans 1-12 for me.
I guess the other big one you've got to look at there, mate, on that Titans side, Jared Wallace is the 18.
Yes.
It wasn't long ago he played State of Origin.
Yeah.
And he can't get a start there either in that pack.
So
or off the bench. Pardon me.
That's not the spicy cough you got there.
It's not a spicy cough, no, pardon me.
Saturday, 5:30, PointsBet Stadium. The Sharks return to PointsBet Stadium up against the Parramatta Eels. This will be a cracker game, I feel.
This will be the hardest game to pick, I think, to tip this weekend. Cronulla obviously hurting after a loss. But I'm tipping Cronulla here, and I'll tell you why. This is my thinking, with no confidence whatsoever. Every time there's a new ground that opens, or a new stadium, or someone gets the opening of a new ground, the home team always wins.
Well, the crowd will obviously come out in numbers, which also may, I don't want to say it as such, but may entice the result around penalties and things like that.
Correct. Get them on side, ref. So, with no confidence, I'm tipping Cronulla. I wouldn't normally tip Cronulla. I'd normally take Parramatta, but because it's the opening of PointsBet Stadium, I'm going to take Cronulla with no confidence.
So 2 things here, or 3 things that stood out of me. That William Kennedy at fullback for the Sharks, he is just a footy player.
Yeah.
He sniffs around. He's always there backing up. He'll have a crack. Just a footy player. Sharks again have named 4 forwards on the bench.
Yeah, last week we mentioned obviously Nathan Brown missing out. He wasn't even on the bench. Ryan Madison must have got injured or something, has he?
Yes, his hamstring. He's round 4.
So Ryan Madison's out. So Kafusi goes into the lock forward position, and Nathan Brown comes in at 17. So really good pack there. A really good bench there. I think Parramatta's got.
Bryce Cartwright coming in as well to go from there. I think the big thing too for Parramatta is Reid Marnie is just the amount of work he does, both in attack and defence, and then also he's the one coming out, putting big shots on and things like that as well.
So there's been a reshuffle in the Parramatta back line this week. Obviously, Parramatta lost a winger through injury, got a rib.
Sean Russell
with damage to a lung,
broken rib as well,
broken rub, punctured lung. So Wanga Blake goes onto the wing, and then Tommy Opacek comes into the centres, who had a big season last year. He won't let him down either.
Yes. I'm still up in the air on this one. I think I've put my tips in already, and I took the Sharks, but on this piece of paper I've written Parramatta 1-12, so I might be going the draw.
Could be value.
Could be value there. The 7:35 game on Saturday at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, Townsville. You reckon they could get a longer name for the...
Oh, mate, I might as well add a couple of more.
Come back to 1-300 smiles.
Yeah.
The North Queensland Cowboys up against the Canberra Raiders.
I'm tipping Canberra here, mate, only because Cowboys were fucking terrible last week. Jack Whiten had an outstanding game. We spoke earlier about the Brad Schneider missing out for Canberra. Matt Frawley comes in at halfback. Tommy Starling's the new starting hooker after Josh Hodgson is out. Same again, we spoke about Scott Drinkwater's the 19, can't get a start there. He's their points man. Toddy Payton, you got to get him in that side. You got to get him in that 17 somewhere in some way, shape or form. Interesting, Drewy, number 21 for Canberra, Ryan Sutton, still on the outer there.
Yeah. I wonder if his girlfriend's got anything to say about that.
Well, I haven't seen him post anything this week to say that about him missing out.
Yeah. Jakey Granville's back too for the Cowboys, which may make a little bit of a difference. The interesting thing here, I had a quick look at the weather, and it's going to be 31 degrees during the day. So coming from Canberra, I know this is played at 7:35
at night. Still
coming from Canberra up to Cowboys, it's a trip and a half already.
Yeah. And
then you got to deal with the heat during the day.
So look at the back end of the game.
Yeah.
There'll be a few hands on hippers and a few going down with cramp from Canberra, you reckon?
I do like the forwards for the Raiders though, like Josh Papali.
Good pack, isn't it?
Joey Tapine, Hudson Young, Corey Wahiranora and Elliot Whitehead.
Yeah, good pack. Even off the bench,
and
mate.
And then, Adrian Travell is a hooker, but then Adam Elliott, Corey Horsburgh,
Emre Gula.
Yeah, they
good pack, mate. Good pack.
So, I think the Raiders hit 13 plus.
Yep, I think so. I'm with you. I haven't taken a margin, but I think Canberra for sure.
Sunday, 4:05, McDonald Jones Stadium, the Knights and the Tigers.
Mate, it's at Newcastle Stadium. If the Knights play anywhere as good as they did last week, they will win and win easy here with the West Tigers.
Yes. How good's the forward pack for the Knights? Oh, you just look at them names there.
Well, you got to think about here too, mate. They're missing their captain, Brayley, the hooker.
Yes.
Jaden Brayley. Daniel Saifiti's not there either.
Well, he's named at number 24, so that's going to be interesting whether he jumps onto the bench there or whether it's just mind games.
But they do have a good pack.
And I'll tell you who else was impressive too from last week, the halves. Jake Clifford, Adam Clune, never played together. Jakey Clifford's been there for a while. Adam Clune's been in and out of first grade, obviously at Saints behind Benny Hunt.
Yeah.
But, he was super impressive.
Oh, that's good.
And for the Tigers, the only positive, that Dane Laurie, again, I mentioned it about Will Kennedy for the Sharks. Dane Laurie, just a footy player.
Yeah.
Just, he bobs up. That's where most of their points come from. I think the Knights 13 plus, though.
Yeah, I think the Knights 13 plus, mate. The Tigers forwards to me looked a little bit slow, like defensively, laterally on their feet.
Side to side.
Yeah, someone like the little fellas get a little bit of footwork, and obviously they get tired and so forth, but I just thought they were a little bit loose around the middle.
Loose. And the last game, 6:15 Sunday night at a core stadium, which I believe is Homebush. It's had more names.
It's had a new name, has it?
The Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs up against the Brisbane Broncos.
Do you think this 6 o'clock time slot is really working on a Sunday night?
No.
No, I don't either, mate. Can you imagine how many people they're going to get out there?
But I don't know when they play it, because I don't agree with Monday night either.
I don't mind the Monday night.
I don't mind. Maybe it's a.
I like the Thursday night footy.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's an all season thing. But the other thing, I'm not a fan of the 2 games on a Friday night. I don't really like the 6 o'clock game on a Friday night either.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Just have the 1 game on the Friday night. But yeah, I'm not sure about this 6 o'clock game on a Sunday. It's
Maybe they go all week.
particularly at a core. Like fuck this.
Yeah.
If they get 5,000 people to this,
Yeah.
I'll be surprised. You know.
Yeah. I'll be throwing people in.
Well, they'll have a detour out there on Parramatta Road,
Yeah.
putting people into the ground. But why not have it at Bilmore? I don't know. Have it at Bilmore Stadium. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, there's probably a certain amount of people that you can have, and you can't tell me higher in the ground. You can't tell me higher in Homebush Stadium is going to be more.
I think the Dogs get money from
Probably.
Homebush
Fuck
to
that,
go out
mate.
there. But even and the Broncos being
An away
Brisbane
team,
side,
they're not
it's
gonna
not as
bring-
if they're going to travel.
No, mate, please.
Your diehards will travel, but it's
And
not
it's-
as if they're going to travel.
Don't worry about the corporates. Let's not worry about the corporates, Christ. Let's just get atmosphere and bums on seats. Couple of things here with the Broncos. Obviously, Adam Reynolds is back. Tessie News, the new fullback, because Jermaine Asako played fullback last week,
Yes.
and now he's gone from the penthouse to the shithouse because he's now named at number 23.
Yes.
Billy Waller's on the bench. I felt he should have been the start at 6 because I thought he had a great game last week.
Adam Reynolds did mention, though, after one of the trials that he preferred Albert Kelly.
Yeah.
Because he's probably a bit more Cody Walker-esque.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's interesting that the halfback's picking who wants to play.
A couple of the forwards that stood out last week. Obviously, Kurt Capewell for the Broncos won the game, pretty much kicking a field goal there, which was unusual. But he had a big motor, and you can see what an impact that he's already started on that side. Pat Garrigan, the lock forward, I thought he had a good game for him last week too. He's got a big motor. But I've tipped the Broncos. I don't think it'll be by much. But, yeah, this will be a good test.
Yeah, I'm with the Broncos 1-12. Did you see that move Selwyn Cobbo put on Josh Mansell?
Turn him inside out.
Oh, yeah. The bloke inside Josh Mansell got a cold. He was he went past him.
He is a star, that future star, that Selwyn Cobbo.
So that is round 2 of the NRL. Quickly, round 4 of the WNRL. We got the Titans v the Broncos Saturday 12:50 at Seabus Super Stadium. So this is the lead-in to the 3 o'clock game up there, which is good.
Mate, I'm going to take the Broncos in the women's.
Broncos,
they're undefeated.
too strong.
I think they'll be too strong. Titans will have a go, but I'll take the Broncos.
Eels versus the Roosters Sunday 12 o'clock at McDonald's Jones Stadium.
Mate, I don't know about this one. This is I think it's the hardest game to choose from because I think both teams are pretty even. I think they're even on the table. Parramatta played some good footy last week, but so did the Roosters against Newcastle. But mate, I think this will be a real tight one. I think it'll be like 12-10 or 16-14 or something like that.
Yeah. And the Knights and the Dragons Sunday 1:45 at McDonald's Jones Stadium.
I think the captain Kezzy Apps is back.
She's back, yes.
So that'll be good input for the Dragons, but I'll take the Dragons here.
I agree on that one. So that's our preview of round 2 of the NRL and round 4 of the WNRL. Now, each week we pick our favourite player of all time from a certain club. This week is the Brisbane Broncos.
Mate, this is extremely hard, this one, because if you're not a Broncos fan, you don't like the Broncos. There's not too many players there that you actually, I really like watching him. But I had to put the thinking cap on to see who I was going to pick this week. But a player that I used to like watching and enjoy for his toughness and his non-stop work rate was a little back rower called Alan Cairn.
Yes, little nugget.
Yeah, he was a little nugget. He wasn't real tall. He was fairly wide. He was a couple of pick handles wide. But mate, geez, he was tough. He just had that Broncos fabric. He was just tough, strong defender, cut the ball up. I'm pretty certain he played State of Origin at some stage. But yeah, I used to like watching him play. He was a no nonsense. He wasn't a big name. He wasn't the Langers or the Walters or the Lockiers or the Renoufs or Webkes or Tallises or anything. He was just part of that side, that era, that 92, 93 side. He was just tough.
He was probably Dallas Johnson-esque.
Yeah, he was just a bit like that.
No nonsense, just did
went
his
about
job.
his job.
Yeah, did and probably put his his head where others wouldn't put their feet.
Yeah.
Just did his job.
Defended a lot like Trevor Gilmeister.
Well, you asked, you want to know who I couldn't split two. I couldn't split two.
You didn't take the Meister, did you?
I took the Axe.
The Axe?
Yes.
Gilmeister.
He, defence-wise...
He had a few clubs, old Gilly.
He did have a few clubs, but defence-wise, he was astronomical. Just cut people in half.
For the size of the bloke.
Yeah.
You talk about tough. Fuck,
No,
like he got out of a hospital bed to go and win a State of Origin game.
Yeah. And I couldn't split the other one, the
Who's
great
that?
Wendell Sailor.
Oh, the great Dell. The great Dell. Only because he's a good sledger?
Yeah, probably. But he could back it up as well.
Yeah, he could talk the talk and walk the walk.
And you think of that sort of, those teams there, like Brisbane had 8 forwards. They'd have Wendell hit it up, Lottie Takiri hit it up, and then like the next bloke was bigger and the next bloke was bigger and that type of thing. But yeah, Wendell for me, he could back it up and talk the talk.
Those sort of blokes change the game. You talk about bringing the ball back on those early hit-ups with Wendell and Lottie.
Yeah.
Big bodies.
Will get you forward off the first tackle and that type of thing.
And that was when I loved it when obviously Wendell went to Saints in 08, 09,
Yes.
09, 08 he played with Saints. But that 09 season, and obviously Saints were minor premiers in 09, but even in 2010 Wendell didn't play, retired. But a lot of that should be contributed to Wendell. Because setting the platform, mate, on those early tackles, it was like you said, mate, it was like an extra forward there. He was so good to watch.
I remember they asked Wayne Bennett when he retired. They asked Wayne Bennett, "What you got any words to say about Wendell?" And he said, "Well, he's already said them about himself anyway." So that was I did like that one. So yeah, Wendell,
very good.
Wendell or the Axe, I couldn't split them.
Yeah,
so,
two of the greats.
Now the Would You Rather segment. So we picked two lots of skills. From certain players to take forward, and Hazem El Masri's been a reigning champ. He's goal kicking for a few weeks now. So it's Hazem El Masri's goal kicking or Jonathan Thurston's drive to win.
Mate, you've made it extremely difficult for me this week. Hazem El Masri's been on for he's carryover champion for about the last 4 weeks.
Yes.
But I think we've eclipsed Hazem. I think Thurston's. Mate, just his if the game's in any doubt, if the game's close and you wanted someone on there just to do something freaky or something to try and win the game, how many times did you see him kick a field goal either on the death, on the bell, or in extra time or something to win the game? And didn't matter whether it was for the Cowboys, didn't matter if it was for Queensland, didn't matter if it was for Australia. He just drove for the size of the bloke.
Well, Canterbury let him go because they didn't think he was big enough.
Yeah, mate, for the size of the bloke and just the will to win.
The two things for Thursto is State of Origin. That show and go down the left hand side, the big dummy, and then he'd go through and then. But probably the biggest thing is your team's in trouble. Your forwards are getting belted, and he'd kick it to the corner, and he'd lead the chase. And he tackled the fullback on the try line.
Yeah, you don't see that too often.
No, kick it to the corner, big chase, make the tackle, and then the other team's forwards have all got to get back on side. Usually they force a mistake or something like that, end up scoring a try off it.
And that would lift the rest of your team.
Exactly right. So Thursday goes through. Jonathan Thurston's drive to win. He becomes the new champion. There you go. Now our encyclopedia of players. Here it is for those watching on YouTube. The Encyclopedia of Rugby League Players, the 1995 edition, with Bradley Fittler on the front. Last week we had Gordon Clifford from page 77. I believe he was a Newtown Jet. So pick a number between 2 and 504, please.
Let's go towards the back this time. Let's go page 444.
I'll just open up on 442, so
I'm
pretty
close.
444.
Who have we got to choose from, mate, from the book this week? From 1995. Is there any standouts, any highlights? Any names? Surely.
You might not know this one. It was probably a couple of years just before you were born.
This would be good.
Con Sullivan. North Sydney, 1910 to 1916.
Okay.
72 games. New South Wales, 1910 to 1912.
Right.
5 games. Australia, 1910 to 1914. 5 tests. Con Sullivan immigrated from New Zealand after touring Queensland and New South Wales with the Kiwis in 1909. Playing for Norths, he represented New South Wales in 1910 and made his test debut for his adopted country in the first test against England in 1911-1912. He toured with the Australian Kangaroos and played in 16 matches, including the third test against England. Sullivan toured New Zealand with the New South Wales side in 1912 and 1913 and played his last test series against England in 1914, in teams captained by clubmate Sid Dean. He later married Dean's sister, and their son Bob continued the Sullivan link with the club. Con Sullivan passed away in October 1964.
Unusual name for that era too, Con Sullivan.
Especially coming from New Zealand.
That's what I say, yeah.
Might have been Conrad.
Well, could be, mate. Could be short too, but good on you, Con. Well done, mate.
Yes, so 1910 to 1916.
Successful career, and that's probably the first North Sydney Bear that we had. Oh, we had Jacko, didn't we? Did we have Peter Jackson?
Peter Jackson, yes.
Yeah, so good. That's at a time we haven't had anyone probably back in that era, have we?
No, 1910.
Yeah.
Did you get to see him play?
I'm not familiar with his
work.
I was going to ask you what position did he play?
They didn't say it there.
Okay.
He was probably a fly half.
Yeah, I think he was an edge back rower.
Edge back row, maybe locked in the dressing room.
Con Sullivan, well done.
Well done, mate. Herbie's Hits, our music segment.
Do you want to tell them about the not Instagram, sorry.
Spotify. Yes, we do have a playlist with all your hits.
Halftime Oranges.
Halftime Oranges. Well, you can search the podcast on there, but you can also find us the playlist with the hits.
The playlist with all our hits on it.
Yeah.
So this week I've gone with with my busy weekend, I went to see a show on Sunday afternoon down at the famous Mittagong RSL.
Yes.
My neighbours took me along, and it was a really, really good show. And it was
all the stars have performed on that stage there at the RSL.
They certainly have at the RSL, and there's a few more to come. This week we got to see Fleetwood Mac tribute band.
Tribute, not
tribute,
Fleetwood
not
Mac
these. No, mate, not in Mittagong. Well, you would have thought in the car park there was that many cars there. You would have thought it was the real Fleetwood Mac, but no. Tribute band was Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks. And the band was outstanding. The young lady that played Stevie Nicks did a tremendous job. But the song I've chosen with a bit of Fleetwood Mac theme is one of my favourites is Dreams. So you got to get this on your playlists. It's become familiar with a bit of a TikTok recently.
Richmond Tigers, I think, did they do it? Drinking out of the cup, and Tom Brady also.
Well, also with the is it the cranberry juice with the skateboard? That's the latest TikTok. But get this one on your listen carefully. But that's Dreams
Fleetwood Mac. So
get that on your on all your good playlists.
Now our bet of the week. What have you got? Our last week. Let's just talk about last week first. You tipped your 4 favourites.
And I think how many of them got up? 1?
2, I think.
2.
You tipped the Rabbitohs, Roosters, Storm, and the Eels. So the Storm and the Eels won.
Yeah.
And mine. I had Coates and Olam anytime try scorers into each other, so 1 out of 2. But just on the side there, I did tip Wade Egan.
Yes, you
anytime
did.
Try scorer, and he
You
got
did.
over. So stick to
What about
Wade Egan.
and I tipped Terrell Sloan anytime try scorer, but he
didn't score.
He didn't score. But what about you sent me a message after the 5th game or something. The Saints and the Warriors the 5th game last week. And you sent me a message, and it was a picture, and it said, if you're 0-5 in the tips, you don't know rugby league.
No, if you've got any more than
0-5 in rugby league,
you don't know rugby league.
You don't know rugby league. So anyway, you can't blame me for tipping the favourites. But this week, my best bet, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your pens ready, because I'm going to win you an absolute mozza.
Get in the queue.
Get in the queue. Kids, if you're in the car, write this one down. Get your crayons out, because I've got a 7-leg multi.
Jesus.
So sit down and write this one out. So I've taken the Roosters over Manly,
Yes.
into the Titans over... Who the fuck are they playing? Titans
Can
are
you
playing...
prepare me here, please?
Sorry, mate, sorry.
The Titans are playing the Warriors
So it's Roosters into the Titans, into Para,
over the Sharks,
Para over the Sharks, into the Knights,
over the Tigers,
over the Tigers, into Brisbane,
over the Bulldogs.
over the Dogs, right? That's the first 5 legs. It's actually an 8-legger I've got you here. That's the first 5 legs. The 6th leg is Ravalawa to score any time, try scorer.
Yes.
And then the 7th and 8th leg is... The 7th leg is the Broncos women's
Yes.
to win. And the 8th leg is the Saints women's to win.
Yes.
So we'll go through it again. Roosters in the NRL, Titans in the NRL, Parramatta in the NRL, Knights in the NRL, Brisbane in the NRL. So that's the first 5. Ravalawa anytime try scorer. And the Broncos and Saints in the women's. And that will get you a juicy $51.16.
For every dollar.
For every dollar.
And then you're saying, waiter, check please.
Get in the queue. Get as much on that as you can.
So Roosters, Titans, Para,
Knights,
Broncos, Ravalawa anytime try scorer, Broncos women's, Saints women's.
Yeah.
$51.16.
51.16 that was, just before we come on.
Well, mine is, and it's a bit of a follow-up from last week, and I've stolen one of your legs.
Yeah.
Xavier Coates anytime try scorer.
Yeah.
Into Ravalawa anytime try
Oh,
scorer.
what's that paying?
$3.34.
Wow.
So I don't think that's too bad
No.
for your money there.
One's a left winger, one's a right winger.
And both games are Friday night, so a great way to lead
You could be, yeah.
Saturday with your winning. So, as always, the more you put on, the more you get back, but gamble responsible. And we're still looking for a sponsor. If any of those betting companies want to come on, they probably... I think we were in negotiations, but they saw our tips last week and they've put them on hold.
Have you got any?
Review.
Obviously, this weekend's a big weekend in horse racing tips. This week in horse racing, it's the Golden Slipper at the famous Rose Hill. Have you got any tips?
I haven't had a look as yet. No.
Okay, so I'll give you a tip. Rose Hill Race 8, which is the Golden Slipper. Number 7, Rise of the Masses. Rise of the Masses, number 7.
Who's riding it?
T. Clark.
Yes.
Trainer Gay Waterhouse. Only concern here comes out of barrier number 16, which is wide out. It will show early speed. It'll get across early. Whether it's got enough petrol to hang in there and kick to the line, I don't know. But it had a win last week. Its last 3 starts it's all placed 3 times. It's third, second, and it had a win last week at Rose Hill. So yeah, get a Rise of the Masses. Coolangatta's obviously the favourite, trained by Chris Marr, ridden by J-Mac. Coolangatta, I'm not sure whether Coolangatta can win it. There's a lot of doubts there on that. That's the favourite. It's an early favourite at the moment. But anyway, I'll have a little bit on sneaking on Rise of the Masses.
Thank you very much, Tony Brassel. So don't forget to follow us on Facebook or search for us on your favourite podcast player, Halftime Oranges. Or if you want to see our melons on the screen, you can get us on YouTube under the same name, Halftime Oranges. Still a chance to join our tipping competition. You're probably only about 2 or 3 points behind if you join now. Clayton, thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure, mate.
And as always, look short, play long.
Carry on regardless.